Okay, hello guys, and welcome to Real Reds Talk. This is our weekly segment. It's our news show, and today you're probably wondering who's this good-looking Irish fella? Is that Colin Farrell? You know, from the new Batman playing Penguin. That's it. No, my name's Adam. You know me from other shows. I often stream with Nick, involved with the Instagram a wee bit, and today I'm joined by my co-host, as you know, Nick, who usually hosts here, but he's given me the reins for today. So let's see how it goes. How are you doing today, Nick?
Extremely tired, but extremely excited to get into this. It feels weird being on the other side of the coin. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to it.
That's good. That's good. Hopefully it can wake you up now. I know you've had a long day, but I will see how this show goes. So I think there's only one bit of news ready to start with, and that's regarding Richard Arnold's meeting with the 1958 group. Obviously, they were meant to protest outside his house. I don't necessarily agree with that, but he stopped it, met them down in his local, bought them a few drinks, and openly discussed what's kind of happening behind the scenes. And I just wanted to get your general thoughts. I know you've done a video yesterday, so if nobody's watched it yet, go watch that, leave a like, do all the good jazz. But me, Sam, and Shreya's done an Instagram live there the last day, and we kind of discussed it. We broke down some of the quotes. We looked at what he was saying. And I never actually really heard your full overall thoughts about it, Nick. Do you think it's a positive or a negative thing that he's done?
You know what? I feel like I'm torn between two worlds at the minute. Because I've got one side saying, well, you know, Ed Woodward never did this. He had the odd kind of thing spout with a fan in the I was going to say parking lot then. It's so American. In the car park, you know, saying whatever, blah, blah, blah. But for him to take fans to a pub, I'm assuming he probably bought him a pint with the amount of money he's on. I'm hoping so anyway, Richard. If he didn't, then that's a few points knocked off the table. But yeah, so I've got this kind of like devil on my shoulder here, angel on my shoulder here saying, well, he's took him for a drink, he's explained the situations which Ed Woodward would have never have done in his whole existence here. No. He's been brutally honest, which is kind of putting his job on the line to a certain extent, because if the Glazers hear that, which obviously they probably have, they will have words with him behind the scenes. There's no two ways about it. They will be speaking to him saying, you need to be careful what you're saying, because he was brutally honest and open, and you rarely see that from him, especially CEO. Like, he's the top dog at that club now, in terms of how everything's running. So I think it was refreshing, the honesty. So I like that side of it. I thought everything he said was pretty much spot on about the club, but it's obviously stuff we already know. So it's nothing new. We know this stuff, but to hear it from him so he can identify them problems and, you know, create a structure in place to address it, then yeah, I'm happy about that. However, the little skeptical devil on me left-hand shoulder is kind of thinking, when it comes to PR, marketing, all this kind of stuff, he's also top dog at that. That's the reason why he got so far at United, because he was great at that. He broke world records and stuff in terms of sponsorship deals and things like that, and how to make a certain thing look good. So did he have his PR brain on at the time? Is this kind of tin PR? And he's like, I know what will win the fans over. If I go have a pint with some of the regulars, or with some of the true Reds, as they'd call them, then maybe if people see this video or they hear about it, then the spin. Do you know what I mean? It'll make people feel good, and they'll be like, "Oh, he's actually trying." So there's two sides to it. It could be either one. I'm not kind of saying it was definitely good or it was definitely bad. I'm kind of, you know, torn between them. But I did think it was refreshing, and I'm kind of leaning more towards the fact that I believe what he said. I believe he's actually trying to change things, unlike Woodward. Like, Woodward was just stubborn in his ways and was just basically a shit. And the reason why we're in this shit pan at the minute and why we're doing so bad. So, yeah, I believe he's trying to make a change. I think some of the changes he's already made at the minute with it in regards to backroom staff, letting Murtagh take the reins in recruitment and stuff. But I think time will only tell by August 31st, or when we're 5 games into the season, whatever, what's actually changed and how far we've actually come. So let's see what happens with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got to see what happens. For me, when he came out and he was speaking very, I know it might sound bad, but I don't mean it in a bad way.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the most professional way of phrasing things, like. But I thought it was refreshing to hear that. But going
Yeah.
to the level of the fans, sitting there with them, and actually discussing it. I don't know. He must have known that he was going to be recorded at some point anyway. Throughout it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that side of it. I know a lot of people were saying, oh, maybe he didn't actually know and maybe it wasn't right. But then again, if the recordings never happened, we could have just, said, oh, that's
You'd
never
have to
happened.
go off quotes then, wouldn't you? You'd have
Yeah.
to try believe quotes, and you know what people like in the media, especially on Twitter and
Yeah.
stuff, they can manipulate quotes. And I've already seen it already. People are taking the quotes from that thing, added little adjectives in and stuff, and you're just like, that wasn't a direct quote, because I've watched every video. That wasn't a direct quote. Going back to what you said about the video thing, I was skeptical about that as well, because I thought surely anyone would notice if you're sat in a room with three lads here and they're asking you questions, one of them's got the phone like that and the camera's aiming towards you, you're going to notice it, aren't you, at some point, that someone's recording you. Like,
he's
surely.
like, just like,
yeah, like if I'm sat there like that at a table with you, Adam, and I'm kind of like that, come on, like, do you know what I'm saying?
I know.
So, yeah, a bit skeptical about that.
Exactly. He 100% knew. So we're going to just throw some quick topic, news articles out here, and we're going to give you a percentage of what we think the percentage will be in terms of it actually happening.
Yeah.
So I think the first one is Man United have tabled a £55 million bid for Porto star Evanilson as Erik ten Hag eyes attacking signings, and that's from Jack Ottaway from the Journal, and that's for the Express Sport. Personally, I don't think this is a deal that happened. I put it at 10%. I would like that money's going to get you Anthony, that 55 million. That's what they're looking for that. So what would you think about that one?
Look, I have to confess, I don't know a great deal about him. I've done a little bit of research on him. 22 years old, 33 games, 18 goals and 4 assists. So relatively decent return, good on both feet, not great in the air for what I've seen, but looks like a decent prospect. But let's not forget, Porto, they lost Vitinho to who we was linked with as well. They've lost Vitinho to PSG. They lost Pablo Vieira to Arsenal. They lost Luis Diaz to Liverpool in January. And then this is another player from them, which, you've got all these clubs at the moment kind of cherry picking players. So from Ajax, they're getting all their decent players taken. And then from Porto, they're getting all their decent players taken. So I don't think, even if you was to go in for this player, it's not going to be an easy bargain because you've sold so many. There's only so many of your decent players you can sell before you kind of go down the table like that, even for Porto, because kind of Porto and Benfica are the staples in that league, aren't they? But yeah, I don't see much in it, to be honest. I think this is another kind of story that Portuguese press are pushing. There seems to be, I don't know why they do it, but I don't know if they've got ties with agents, which they probably have, to promote certain stories or add a club like Manchester United to get a bite off another club. You see that happen quite a lot, but the Portuguese press seem to do it a lot, like a hell of a lot. So yeah, I'll probably say 20% chance of it happening, Adam, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it's actually mad, just the amount of good players that are coming out of the league right now. Obviously Liverpool have quite a player on their hands, someone who we were in for. Then they obviously, as you mentioned, Luis Diaz, they're in January, and people call them the signing of the year.
Yeah,
and he came in January. So it's not the end of the world if we take someone from them. All the talent seems to be working out, especially in the Premier League whenever they come from Portugal. So
I feel like, sorry to cut you in there, Adam. I feel like the three clubs, Ajax, Monaco, and Porto or Benfica, they're the clubs that just seem to like conveyor belts of talent coming through consistently. And then the top club just kind of cherry picking them like boom, boom, boom. And that's how it seems to work with them clubs, unfortunately. I wouldn't hate being like one of their fans, because I think Ajax is a great club, something like that, like the traditions, the youth academies and stuff. But you just know when you get to a certain level with them, you're not going to go further, because that big team's going to swoop in and they'll pay the 80, 90 million, not like we did, like other clubs have done with De Ligt, like Juventus with De Ligt and stuff, and Jong with Barcelona. So yeah, these kind of false hope for a fan in that sense. Like with Ajax, you're probably going to win the league every year, well, most years.
That's true.
The Eredivisie. But then you're only going to go so far in the Champions League. If they would have been managed to keep all the De Jong, De Ligt, Ziyech, and Donny, and developed even more and brought a few more quality players into the mix, you don't know what they would have gone on to do. But as a fan, if I kind of feel a bit not sorry, but I'm sympathetic because it's not that next level to go to. They're always going to sell. They're a selling club essentially. So, yeah.
I know you mightn't hearing it, but if we keep going down this track, could it be something that happens to us? Because Ajax have won the European Cup 4 times. I think the last time was 1995.
Yeah.
So, like,
it was under Louis van Gaal, wasn't it?
Under Louis van Gaal, it was, yeah. And 30 years later, now they're a selling club. Like, they were top dogs in Europe at that point. Yeah. So it's hard to say. Like, you never know where you're going to be down the line. Exactly. So we really need to start, building something here. And hopefully this summer is the start of that, because we've been waiting nearly a decade.
The thing for me, Adam, is what happens now if Ten Hag doesn't work and we go a little bit further down the table? What happens then? Because you've tried every manager. You've brought the best friend in who's a legend of the club. Didn't work. Yeah. You brought in a treble winner in Jose Mourinho. Didn't work. You brought in a strict appointment in Louis van Gaal, who's very, one way in his principles. Didn't work. You brought in Fergie's choice with David Moyes. Didn't work. Now you've got this young prospect who's a very talented coach, disciplined, has a great style of play. If that doesn't work out,
where do we go from there then? It's a worry. So we just need to back him to the hills. And I think fans are at that point where we're going to keep backing the manager. We know where the real issues lie anyway.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads us on to what many pointed at being an issue. It's Dean Henderson. Manchester United and Nottingham Forest are confident to get a loan deal done this week. Talks are in progress. Personal terms are already agreed, and that's from Fabrizio Romano. I personally see this as 90%. Obviously, he's tier 1 in terms of sources, but it just seems like it's something we do. He's probably our only, player that we could sell for a decent fee and, pump up the transfer kitty. But we seem to be letting him go out on loan, and we're going to apparently cover some of his wages too. I don't think it's a smart deal. I'd rather sell him at this point and bring in just someone for free, like a backup keeper. Reality is De Gea is probably going to be starting every game. And what do you think of the overall deal? Do you think we should be looking at loaning him out, or maybe, try and get some cash from him?
For me, I was a little bit surprised he's going to Nottingham Forest. Like, don't get me wrong, Nottingham Forest are a great club with massive history. Especially in Europe and stuff. So they are a great club, and it could be a decent opportunity. But I thought he would go more for a top half team, and I think he's got the potential to do that. Like, I actually like him as a keeper. I think keepers need consistency in the game, and he was kind of getting thrown into the mix at times. He looked a little bit dodgy against Liverpool, his position and stuff. But they need a run of games. If you had David De Gea sat on the bench cold for 6 months and brought him in for the one game in the Champions League or something, I think there's obviously a more of a likelihood to see him make a mistake in that game. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but just focusing on the move to Forest, I'm not happy about the loan. Like you said, I feel like we could get a fee for him. He's the only kind of asset that we can get over 20 million for at the minute, I believe. But maybe I was actually thinking about this in work today. This is how obsessed I am with United, because my brain just constantly thinking about him. But I was thinking maybe it's not the worst thing in the world, because when you do a transfer, United tend to do installments quite a lot. So they did installments with Jadon Sancho, right? So if Dean Henderson has a decent season, which we think he might at Nottingham Forest, like he did at Sheffield United, that can only drive his value up. So if we've set the benchmark at 20 million, that could go up to 30 and 40 because there's an obligation to buy there. And then that could pay for half of De Jong, let's say. Obviously, it's not definitely going to happen. He could have a shit season, but he's a young keeper. He's got a lot of potential. He's decent. He could go on loan there, only improve his price to 30, 40 million. Someone coming and buys him. That's half of De Jong's transfer fee they're paid for if you're going to do it in installments. So that's one way to look at it. There's many other ways, but yeah, I'm sure he'll do well if he goes there. I'm sure if he does as well, he'll end up in the World Cup squad. It'd be interesting to see if he gets in there, what kind of ranking he'll be, because I know Southgate loves Pickford and he'll probably stand by him. But then the future tournaments after that, I think he could be in with a shout if he develops the way I think he's going to. So, yeah, I actually like his attitude. I think he's got decent potential. Still only 25 years old, which is a baby age for a keeper. As you know, keepers can go until about the age of 40. So, yeah, I wish him all the best. I hope he does well. And I'll probably say 90% myself. I completely agree with you on that.
Yeah, I feel like it's a deal that's just going to happen. It could even get announced this week. As soon as they've already agreed the personal terms, it's not an issue. I always thought maybe Newcastle will come in and get him. I always thought Newcastle are trying to build something now.
Well, they were saying 15 million, weren't they?
Yeah,
they're like 15 million. Like, fuck off, Newcastle. Well, you know how much money you've got. You're trying to win 15 million at it. Dear me.
Yeah, a lot of clubs have caught us with our pants down anyway in terms of transfer fees. So why not try and get something out of someone else? Exactly. And fair enough, I know that's what we're kind of trying to do with Frankie de Jong anyway. Yeah. So because Spurs aren't in the best financial situation. But moving on anyway, Spurs, Man City, Dortmund, and United are among clubs to express an interest in David Raum at various points. United recently made an inquiry, but my impression is only it was initial conversation and certainly no offers being made. And that's from Jonathan Schrager. And personally, 10%. United don't seem to be that much interested if they're, not putting an offer in there. They're just testing the waters because it's like all the other clubs are in for him. So why not put our own name in?
Yeah.
But, I'd be 10%.
Do you know what? I feel like this. I did like this. I don't know if it's Jonathan Schrager or Top Shagger. I don't have a clue.
Top Shagger.
Yeah, Jonathan Top Shagger. Let's call him
moves
that.
Like Schrager.
Yeah, exactly. Moves like Schrager. I like it. But he's losing his. I did like him at first. He seems to be getting quite a lot of things spot on, but he's losing credibility a bit at the minute. He put something out. I really wish I could remember what player it was. But he was going strong on it and he was saying like United really want this player, blah, blah, blah. People know who are watching now, they know what I'm on about. And then Romano, literally like an hour after it, was like, United are not interested at all in this player. They've scouted him. That's about it. So I'm not sure. It's kind of a tug of war with journalists at the minute. Everyone's trying to get the jump on De Jong. You've got the Dutch journalists that are close to the Timber deal saying he's going to stay at Ajax, and you've got loads of people, and it's kind of so the only one person to go to is two is Romano and Ornstein. They're the ones I trust when something comes out mainly. So I don't really. I take it with a pinch of salt with Jonathan Schrager at the moment. I know he has got certain ties within the club, but things he's come out with recently have basically been crap. And when I see the word inquiry, Adam, like I'm probably similar to you in this aspect. It's basically like we've just scouted a player. And if you looked at Manchester United's database, we've probably scouted about 10,000 players, literally 10,000 players. And that's why journalists can link players, because the club won't deny it. They will message the club or email a certain person within the club, and they'll be like, okay, well, have you had a look at this player? Do you like him? Oh, we scouted him. He seems okay. Boom. They've got that. They'll take that, put that in their article. They've got a story there. That's what I think's happened with this, and that's why I probably give it a 5% chance. Looks like a decent player, but unless we sell Telles or Shaw, it doesn't really make sense to me, to be honest, because we've got so many other areas of priorities to sort out. So, yeah, I'll give it 5%.
Yeah, exactly. There's much bigger areas. As I think I mentioned it before, our spine is broken, a few slip discs. We need to sort that out first. It's what Liverpool done.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah. Spine with a few slip discs, but Liverpool sorted theirs. Got the goalkeeper, centre back, DM, and Firmino. Then, nothing happened, and I think that's something along the lines that Ten Hag wants to do. But leading on then to our probably number one transfer target, and that's Frankie de Jong. United are discussing internally about submitting a new proposal for Frankie de Jong in the next few days. It's a serious possibility while talks with Barca are still on, and that's from Romano himself. I feel like this is a deal that's just waiting to happen now. Like there's that much smoke and fire. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Let's be honest. I'm 90% sure it's going to happen.
And this is even fucking smoking out the room, innit? He says smoke out fire. Exactly, this is like fucking smoke everywhere. So surely,
exactly. Yeah, I see they're coming out of those the transfer, like, negotiations, and they're smelling their clothes, and it's just like, yeah, smell smoke here. Like, do you
smells
ever
like the
go
young
into like
smoke, mate.
exactly, like, do you ever go into a smoking area and then you come out and you're just like this?
Mm.
That was smelling of aftershave like 5 minutes ago.
Do you know what? This is very off topic, right? But I used to smoke quite a lot. I smoked for a long time. Then when I quit and I smelled it on someone when they came in, I was like,
Yeah,
fucking hell, is that what I used to smell like when I come in and sat in next to someone? Like, I was just like, whoa. So yeah, maybe we'll be smelling a lot more of the Jong smoke recently.
exactly.
Soon, hopefully.
And Richard Arnold even said like the deal is more so happening. They have the money there. So that was one thing people picked up on, saying, why did you record that bit and upload it? Because it's just showing Barr said that we have the money to spend then.
I do think it's ironic, Adam, that sorry again to interrupt you. I do think it's ironic, right? That there's 1958, the guys who feel very strongly about the Glazers, and rightfully so. Yeah. I think it's ironic that they always go on about United leaking like a sieve, and they always leak out loads of stuff. But then they've leaked this video to social media, and that's gone out.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit, tiny bit hypocritical for me, but I get why they've put it out, because a lot of the fans would have wanted to see that. But if you're going off pure principle, bit dodgy for me. But yeah,
exactly. I get that too, and I know there's a bit of arguing going on within the group at the moment. It's all over social media, but the Glazers are probably looking at that and laughing. Yeah, it's a bit touchy, but we'll see how it goes anyway. At least someone's doing something anyway. It feels like for once, it's actually the fact that the CEO sat down with them. It's saying a lot.
Yeah, I don't think the Glazers would have been happy about that at all.
Oh no.
I think they would have seen that. They would have been like, "Oh my God, John, we need to have a word with Richard, because he's gone out there and he's spoken to the fans. We are not happy about this. We are going to remove him from the club. We're going to get Ed Woodward back in, and we can start making some commercial deals again." That's what we're going to be like.
Just with the awful haircut where it's just like, back here. Like this.
That little rat tail. God, oh my God. Where's me? Let me go get me scarf. 1 second. For the rest of this show, I'm going to do this. So you talk to us about the Young Adam. I'm just going to grab this 2 seconds.
Yeah. So what we know so far, United have made a couple of bids anyway. They've all been sadly, turned down, but it looks like it's going to pick up now this week. It looks like negotiations are going to pick up, and I can definitely probably see it in the next 2 weeks. It looks like a deal that might very well happen.
Because of the green screen. Never mind. I tried. Completely forgot about the green screen, didn't I?
It was an attempt.
Yeah. But yeah, sorry, Adam. In regards to De Jong, I think the bid will get accepted. I think it'll probably be around 70 plus 10. I'm guessing Barca are holding out for 85, but I think that'll be the kind of the middle point. I know they want Bernardo Silva as a replacement, and they're saying they need to remove De Jong's wages off the wage bill to free up transfers and other contracts for certain players, because De Jong's on about 300k a week, I think, something ridiculous like that. But just imagine if this deal fails and we don't get him, that is massive, absolutely massive. Yeah. So I think Barcelona know that in the negotiating table. I think they're sat down saying, mate, we know. We've seen that picture at the video at the pub. We know you directed saying we've got the money, so we know you can pay it. They know United are kind of desperate, and they know how much Ten Hag wants this player and how much of a key signing he will be for us. So they've got a stake at the table. Do you know what I mean? They could sit there and be like, look, we want 85 million. That's what it is. On the flip side, they're in really bad debt. They're in like 1.4 billion pounds debt and struggling to sign certain players. So I do think they'll meet in the middle. I think it'll be good for both parties. I think it'll still be a decent deal for De Jong to get him for that price. So, and I'll say 80% chance that we sign him, because the fee hasn't been agreed yet, and anything can still happen. Like, don't get me wrong, it could still kind of collapse if Barca find some kind of deal or whatever. So yeah, I'll say 80%.
80%. Yeah, it kind of feels like a poker match almost. Like,
exactly.
Like
which
we calling each other's bluffs. Yeah, we usually do sadly lose, or we fold and just walk out. But that kind of leads us then onto our long stories. Usually a game of poker does be quite long. Hey. And
segues.
This is something I've seen at segues, exactly. And hopefully we'll get a full house of signings by the end of the summer. But,
nice.
Okay, yes. And we can have a straight spine, Oh, okay. I'll stop with the poker kind of punch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Poker analogies.
Yeah. But that kind of leads us on. I saw this today. I was reading a few articles. It was about Garnacho, and according to Defensa Central, Real Madrid are keeping close tabs on Garnacho's contract situation, and it's running out in the summer of next year. So there's one more year left in it. And as we know, the 17-year-old, he was born actually in Madrid and went through the Atletico Madrid ranks before United snapped them up in 2020. And he's made 31 appearances for the under 18s, and he has 18 goals and 8 assists. So really, really good record. As we know, he also scored a brace in the FA Cup final there against Forest at Old Trafford. I think how many, is that 2-3 months ago now? It must be.
I think so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember watching
May was
the game.
it, I
think May, yeah. So maybe over a month ago. It feels
I
like
it's
wrong.
It could have been April or something, but yeah.
Yeah, we haven't had much to cheer about in a long time anyway, so it's nice seeing, the young fellas win something.
Yeah.
So, Nick, what are your thoughts about the whole situation? Do you think this is something we should be looking to renew it right away as soon as possible so we don't have another Pogba situation like, when he left when he was a youth player?
Yeah, this absolutely. Garnacho is a phenomenal talent. If you've watched him in the youth matches, he's got a lot of ability. There was one goal in, especially I can't remember it might have been against Everton or Leicester, where he just sprinted from his own box pretty much, outran 3 defenders like ridiculously quick, and then had the composure to put it in the back of the net. For a young player, composure is kind of like a massive thing to have. If you've got that naturally, I hate to say it because he's under police investigation at the moment, but Mason Greenwood had that in abundance, and look how clinical he was in front of goal. Garnacho's similar. I'm not saying the similar type of players, but in terms of composure, they are. He's got flair. He's exciting, and I think he's young enough to mold. There's no reason why Ten Hag couldn't use him this season. No reason at all. I always go back to this, but he was using De Ligt at 8 year, he was 18 years old in the Ajax team and got. I think
he was the club captain at the time.
Yeah, club captain, 18 years old, and got to a semi-final in the Champions. Do you know what I mean? So if you're old enough, you're good enough. Fergie always said that. So he's someone I would definitely be looking to tie down alongside Ahmad as well. I think them two especially are both going to be really, really big players for us and great wingers. So hopefully we can do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he has a load of admirers. I think was I reading something about Messi coming out and saying
impressed in training
about him. Yeah, really impressed him in training.
Ronaldo
so this
likes
guy,
him as well.
And you're looking at that. The guy has been learning under probably the 2 best players to ever play the game. Like when he goes off to the international team, he's looking at Messi, probably talking with him how to improve his game, and then he's training with Ronaldo at United. So. Yeah. The fella, he's like onto an absolute winner. Just keep his head down, focus on his football. I think that seems to be an issue with a lot of the young players at the moment. They're kind of delving into social media, other things going on. So just focus on your football and you can be a world beater because he has the potential there.
Definitely. Fully agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And another kind of player we've been looking at has been Lisandro Martinez, the Argentine centre-back. He's actually 5'7". This is something I didn't know. I didn't know he was that small. And he's just off a great season, but Ajax, of course, under Ten Hag. And after Van Gaal's comments on Timber, maybe not getting selected for the World Cup team, if he does potentially go to United because he won't potentially start every game, he should nearly be starting, let's be honest. We have barely any options at the back. It makes sense for us to target someone else as well. And what I like about him is, despite his size, he's actually won 66.15% of his aerial duels playing at centre back as well. Mm-hmm. And that's in a league where the average height is 6'2" in the Eredivisie. So that says a lot. The fella has a good leap on him. Mm-hmm. And he's also versatile, so he can play a DM. Yeah, I actually said that right. DM. So it could be another player that we can just throw in there. Like Kante doesn't really have the height. He's a DM, probably the best there has been in a long time. Yeah. Look what he's done. Won World Cups, Champions Leagues, the league with Leicester, and then Chelsea signed them, of course, But there's been a lot of reported fees, and I think it's averaging out to be about £30 million. So if you're looking at it, like Frankie de Jong, usually it's looking like 70 to 80 is the ballpark figure for him.
Yeah.
So if you combined him, Martinez as well, Eriksen, you have a whole midfield for about 100 million there. It's a tree, like if you want to play him in midfield.
Yeah.
And that's being reported by Mike Verwej. I know he pronounced his name a few times more than me. Verwej, yeah. And just Nick, I wanted to get your thoughts about the player. I did see a comment on Twitter about him, and I think I replied to you or whatever. But do you think it's right that we should be kind of targeting him instead of wasting time potentially on Timber?
Me personally, I would be happy if this deal went through. We did a show a few weeks back. I can't remember who was on it. It might have been me, Sam, and someone else. And it was saying, if I'm Ten Hag, what targets, if you're on the board, what targets are you going to bring to me? And I went with, at the time, it was kind of a niche option, but I was looking at Lisandro Martinez, and the stats you mentioned then, like these aerial ability for the Eredivisie is phenomenal for his height. Like, that just tells you it isn't all about height. Jules Koundé is the same. He's very good in the air. Great ball playing centre back who reads the game extremely well. Really good in the air for his height, as I've just said then. I believe I thought he was 5'10", but if he's 5'7", that's even more impressive. So yeah, again, shows he's got a great leap on him. 40 million euros is a decent figure. It'd be an alternative to Timber, of course. I don't think we'll get both, but it's another player that Ten Hag trusts. So yeah, I'd still give it 50-60% at the moment. I think it's not anywhere close, but that Mike Verwij from the European lad is getting quite a lot of stuff spot on at the minute, especially around Dutch outlets. So yeah, let's see what happens with that. 50-60%, I'll say.
Okay. Yeah, I'd probably put it around that mark too, maybe 60%. Obviously, I would prefer Timber. I think he's the sort of player that we kind of need. But the fact that this guy can also play DM, why not try and get both? I would honestly, I'd take both in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Because I said it before, if you get players that have worked under Ten Hag, any system already, you're taking 2 steps forward instead of 1. Because these players don't have to get used to the style of play anymore.
Yeah.
They've already been working under it for the last, the best part of 2 years now. Okay, and that kind of leads us into our last topical bit of news for today. And this is according to Fabrizio Romano. Christian Eriksen will make his decision on his future club soon. Manchester United have confirmed their interest, as we all know, to his agent. Brentford are still in the race, and Tottenham are now focused on a right back and then a striker after completing 3 signings already. It sounds positive. Surely we are more of an attractive project than Brentford. Surely we haven't fallen that far, have we, Nick?
Well, it's getting closer. I think. Where did Brentford finish? Was it 13th? I think they finished, something like that. So we was only 6 places above him, I think, when you look at it like that. Obviously, I really don't mean this in a cocky way because we're doing shit at the minute. We're obviously a bigger club than Brentford, a lot bigger. That's their first kind of run in the top flight in it since God knows how long. So if we did get picked to it from Brentford, there's probably 2 reasons why. One is because Eriksen would get guaranteed game time there, and he would play whenever he wants. He's obviously well loved there, and he's got a great connection with the Thomas Frank in it, the Danish coach.
Yeah.
At United, it'd obviously be a different situation. He'd be competing with Bruno Fernandes. He'd other attacking slots he may get into. It just depends really where you want to play him. I know he's played off the right before. He's played as a 10. He's played as an 8. So I know Ten Hag's absolutely obsessed with the idea of getting De Jong and Eriksen in to transform that midfield because of the creative flares. He's still a quality player, and he would bring flair. He'd bring football IQ and calmness. Great at set pieces, works hard, great inside areas, can pass the ball really well, really good dribbler. So he's like all around. I think he would be a great addition, and he'd kind of replace Juan Mata in that sense of that as that creative spark. He wouldn't get a major. It wouldn't be when we're doing our negotiating on the 10-bag career. He wouldn't, if we're negotiating, we wouldn't be like, you're a very important player who's going to play every game. But I think he'd be just a bracket below that. That's what I'd probably say. But he would be a great addition, and he could play a number of positions. So I'm going to go bold on this, and I'm going to say 99% chance that it happens. I think it's a lot closer than people think. Just from stuff I've watched and listened to and seen people like Romano tweeting. And someone before as well on Sky Sports, Seth something, I can't remember what it's called, but he's one of the big journalists over there. And he's saying he's been told a deal's being spoken about right now to be done. So, yeah, I think if I'm in Christian Eriksen's head, he's just been at Brentford for 6 months. He's proven that he's still got a lot in the tank left, and he's still like a very, very good player. And Manchester United, I mean, who doesn't? I know we've had a shit season last season and stuff, but it's Manchester United at the end of the day. Like, he's probably thinking 75,000 fans. He's going to get a wage bump, a lot more eyeballs on him, and he's going to be at least in Europe. I know it's Europa League, but yeah, I'll say 99%. I think if Spurs were involved, because I know they've distanced themselves from the deal now, they've said, we've got 3 other targets we want to do. I would probably go lower and say it'd be 50-50, but because Spurs aren't involved and it's just basically between United and Brentford, I'll say 99% chance that Eriksen signed for Manchester United.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of worry in the back of my head if they do go and decide, because they can negotiate more than one deal at once when we can't. It seems we're focusing on the Frankie de Jong deal right now, especially given he's like history with the club, and I think he worked under Antonio Conte at Inter, and then he won the league, so there is that bit of a connection. But like, we're the ones in for him, it looks like right now, and if it's us against Brentford, like, it has to be us. Like, I'm not trying to sound cocky, like you were saying.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah.
You're looking at it realistically and you're thinking, okay, he's 30, 31. He's had like a massive health scare there, which was almost exactly a year ago. I think a year and 5 days, something like that. So it's not that long ago. He's come back and you're looking at it. Okay, I have a chance to play for one of the biggest clubs in the world after what's happened. Like, you have to take that. When's that opportunity going to come further down the line again? It may not. So, I'm quite confident it'll happen.
And also, Adam, who would have thought this? Now, this just shows the beauty of the transfer market, because no one would have predicted this. I didn't see 3 months' time, 3 months ago, people even mentioning Christian Eriksen. But the fact he's available on a free, still Premier League proven, still doing it there, like, was Brentford's best player, definitely. I really think he would be a great addition for set games where you're struggling, you need a set piece or something like that. I do. I think he can knit play together. I think he's a fabulous talent, and I would welcome him with open arms at Manchester United. It could even be, depending on what happens with this de Jong deal, he could even be the first signing to walk through the door. It could be something we talk about for a week whilst we're working on de Jong. Get de Jong in. Your midfield then's completely switched up on it, from going from McFred, Scott McTominay, to Christian Eriksen and de Jong on the ball, just absolute levels above them two in terms of talent. So, I'd welcome it with open arms, definitely.
We also have Donny van de Beek coming back as well. So, it completely changes our midfield.
Yeah.
Next season.
And the one thing I do, I want to throw back to you just on that, sorry. Yeah. Where's the balance though in that? That's what worries me, because I know we always go on about a DM, and I'm kind of getting sick of like saying it now because I'm just bored of it. Yeah. But he's telling me he could play midfield with Bruno, Eriksen, and de Jong. Like, I can't see that working in the Premier League. It really can't. You need that holder, and then whether they're going to use a Fred, de Jong, and Donny, but Fred can't do that role on his own. We've seen him do it before, so maybe I don't know honestly. Don't know what's going to happen with that. I don't know if he's going to bring Garner into the fold, if they're actually looking at a DM. Because I've seen people as well, credible journalists, say they are going to bring a DM, a defensive midfielder, definitely. But then I haven't seen those links with any. No. So is it going to be a systematic thing where, honestly, your guess is as good as mine with that?
That's pretty much it, yeah. I think a name people have mentioned, I know Sevilla has mentioned that it's Sangaré. Sangaré at PSV. Sangaré, obviously finished in the team of the season, got man of the match against Ajax. Ten Hag seems to be somewhat of an admirer of him, so he's the kind of profile that I think we should be going. But it's well down the pecking order, I say, at this current moment,
which is crazy, isn't it?
It is, because it's something that we haven't had since probably Michael Carrick. Carrick was probably our last DM, and he wasn't your naturally gifted, say. He was the passer of the ball. He wasn't really like, this midfield destroyer, whatever. He'll break the defensive line with a pass. But I'm just hoping we can. I was reading like Ten Hag wants, I think, 5 players Like, it's a sad reality. You're at Manchester United now. Look at us in the last couple of seasons. When's the last time we got 5 players in one window? I think was it Ollie's first season? Like, after he had signed the contract.
Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Dan James.
James.
Who else in that first season?
Didn't have Ahmed, did he?
No, because that was the season. That was when we got Donny, and we got Palestre, Ahmad, and Donny and Cavani, I think, instead of the ones we was actually linked with. I don't know. I can't remember. I think the first season was Dan James, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, and we sold Lukaku, didn't we?
Yeah,
I think something like that.
Something along those lines.
So yeah, I don't know. I can't remember personally. I'll signing that many, but it's needed. It's needed. I think one of them would be Eriksen. So one of them would be a free, Christian Eriksen. One of them would be a young player. That left back from the Eredivisie, can't remember his name, Tyrone Marshall or something like that. I think it is. Could be way off there, but he's a young, promising left back. I think De Jong will be one of them. I think Lisandro Martinez, Pau Torres, or Timber will be one of them. And then an attacking player, I think. I don't know who, but yeah, I think we'll sign an attacking player, in my opinion.
I hope we actually get them all. Our squad really, really needs them right now. Yeah. And okay, that kind of concludes the show for today. Like, hopefully this is a week where we can actually get some deals done, or even put the groundwork in and just have them set. Fingers crossed, double fingers crossed. Yeah. Because right now I'm sick and tired of being interested in acquiring FC. That's what we're becoming, and everyone on Twitter is saying that. It's like, all of our fans are getting ready. I wouldn't even call it impatient, because we've actually been waiting this long. Yeah. And I ended up finding something out, and we haven't gone a transfer window without completing a signing in the month of June since 2010. So it's over 10 years since and I think there's going to be about 9 days left of the month. So can we get a deal in the next 9 days? Because otherwise it hasn't been since 2010.
Yeah. I do think we will though, Adam. I do think we will though. Yeah. In the next 9 days. One, whether it's Eriksen or De Jong, I'm not sure, but something really big and significant I believe will happen. But again, we'll just have to wait and see, won't we?
Well, I hope so. But guys, please let us know below anyway. Do you think we're actually going to sign anyone this month? Or will it be the first year since 2010 where we don't? I'd also like to just thank my co-host for giving me the reins for the show today. It's a bit of a learning curve. I hope it wasn't too bad.
No, you've been stellar. Done an absolute wonderful job. So 10 out of 10 from me.
A bit different Irish accent this time. So please like, comment, subscribe, do all the good things on our socials. Check out our Twitch as well, where we regularly stream different games. You have Call of Duty on it, you have Assassin's Creed and PUBG from Shreyas as well. Of course, usually we stream FIFA on a Thursday, so that's always on our YouTube channel. You can watch that there. And thank you so much for watching anyway. So make sure you tell somebody you love them as well. Peace and love.
There we go. Peace, guys.